They say some hotels hold memories like ghosts, lingering long after their guests are gone. But what if one night you found yourself in a room that no longer exists? A room that vanished from the hotel's floor plans years ago, yet somehow you stayed there. What if the walls whispered secrets and the shadows moved without a source? Welcome to the story of room 306, a room no one should ever enter. When Lauren checked into the Maplewood Grand Hotel, the rain had already begun to pour. She was exhausted from her 9-hour drive. The weekend was supposed to be a peaceful getaway, a chance to escape the empty apartment that haunted her since her fiancé, Ethan, had died in a car crash 6 months ago. She thought the change of scenery would bring some relief. But as she approached the grand lobby with its antique chandeliers and mahogany walls, something about the air felt wrong. Yet the warmth of the fireplace and the polite smile of the receptionist calmed her nerves. She was given a key. Room 306. It was the only available room, the woman said. Lauren barely noticed the strange pause before the receptionist handed over the key, her hands trembling ever so slightly. The elevator creaked as it climbed. When the doors opened, the hallway was dimly lit, the buzzing fluorescent lights flickering. Room 306 was at the far end. Lauren could hear the distant hum of rain against the windows, but as she slid the key into the lock and pushed the door open, a chill crawled up her spine. The room smelled of damp wood and something else, something metallic. The decor was outdated, the wallpaper peeling, the bed's sheets were wrinkled as if someone had just been there. Then she noticed the mirror, a large cracked mirror above the dresser, but it wasn't her reflection that caught her attention. It was the faint outline of a man, Ethan. He was standing behind her. She spun around. Nothing. The room was empty. Panic gripped her chest as the shadows in the corner seemed to stretch and twist. The walls groaned. Then a knock. 3 sharp knocks from inside the closet. Lauren couldn't move. She wanted to scream, but no sound escaped. The closet door creaked open. Inside was nothing but darkness, yet the smell of decay flooded her senses. Trembling, she slammed it shut and stumbled backward. Memories of Ethan flashed in her mind. The laughter, the plans for their future, the promise of forever, and then the crash. She remembered the twisted wreckage, the hospital's sterile white walls. The moment the doctor shook his head, she thought she had escaped the pain, but now it had followed her. Tears streamed down her face. "Ethan," she whispered, "please, I'm sorry." But there was no answer, only the hollow hum of the hotel room. Desperate, she fled into the hallway, but the corridor was wrong. The patterned carpet was stained, the walls covered in deep, claw-like scratches. The numbered doors were gone, just endless walls of peeling wallpaper. Lauren ran, her heart pounding, but no matter how far she went, she always ended up back in front of room 306. The door was wide open. Inside, the room had changed. The bed was gone, the cracked mirror shattered to pieces. On the floor was a single rotting suitcase. Trembling, she knelt to open it. Inside were old, blood-stained clothes and a name tag. Ethan Crawford. Lauren screamed. The air grew suffocating. Then, from behind her, a voice whispered her name. Low, distorted. She turned, but there was no one. Only the reflection in the shards of the mirror. Ethan's twisted, hollow-eyed face stared back at her. When Lauren woke, she was lying on the hotel lobby's floor. The receptionist stood over her, her face pale. "You're lucky," she said softly. "You shouldn't have gone to that room." "But I stayed there." Lauren stammered. "Room 306. The receptionist's expression darkened. Room 306 was sealed off years ago. After the incident, there was no key, no room, just the memory of what happened there. Lauren's hands shook. The suitcase, Ethan's name, the voice. Was it all real? Or had the hotel itself twisted her grief into a nightmare? As she staggered to her feet, she noticed the elevator mirror, and there, just for a second, was Ethan, staring, smiling. But the worst part, on the lobby's register, beneath her name, another was listed. Ethan Crawford. Who had checked him in? And why was his signature still wet? They say grief is like a shadow, silent, patient, and impossible to outrun. But what if the shadow wasn't just a metaphor? What if the ghost of someone you loved was not only real, but waiting for you in a place that time had forgotten? Lauren thought she had left room 306 behind, but the horrors of the Maplewood Grand Hotel were far from over. Some spirits never rest, and some stories refuse to be buried. The air outside the hotel was thick with mist as Lauren stumbled to her car. Her trembling hands fumbled with the keys, tears still streaming down her face. The memory of Ethan's hollow-eyed reflection haunted her, the ghostly whisper of his name lingering in her ears. She wanted to believe it was all in her mind, a sick illusion born from grief. But the blood-stained suitcase, the name tag, and the receptionist's chilling words told her otherwise. Room 306 was sealed. It never should have been opened. Yet someone, or something, had let her in. But why? Her phone buzzed, jolting her from her thoughts. The screen lit up with a single notification. Missed call, Ethan. Her heart slammed against her chest. It had to be a cruel glitch. She hesitated, tears welling in her eyes as she checked the number. It was his. The same number she had dialed countless times after his death, begging for the impossible. She gasped for air, her trembling finger hovering over the call log. But before she could react, the phone rang again. Ethan Crawford calling. Paragraph 2. Shock and fright. Lauren's scream caught in her throat. The ringing was deafening. She threw the phone to the ground, but it didn't stop. The screen glowed as the name flashed over and over. Ethan Crawford. Shaking, she backed away, but then it answered itself. A low, guttural static bled through the speaker, and then his voice. Broken, distant. Lauren. She froze. It was him. She knew it. But the voice was wrong. It was twisted, like something beneath the surface was using it, mimicking it, waiting. The call ended. Silence. Lauren's sobs echoed through the empty parking lot. The hotel loomed behind her, its darkened windows watching. But as she turned toward her car, a wave of nausea washed over her. Her tires had sunk deep into the mud. She couldn't leave. Not yet. A flash of light caught her eye. The lobby window. Someone was there, the silhouette of a man. And though she couldn't see his face, she knew who it was. Ethan. Paragraph 3. Heartbreaking tragedy. With trembling steps, Lauren re-entered the hotel. The air was heavier now, the warmth from the fireplace gone. The receptionist was nowhere in sight. The grand chandelier swayed gently, though there was no breeze. Hello? Her voice cracked. I need help, please. No answer, but the elevator dinged. Slowly, the doors slid open. Inside, the mirrored walls gleamed. Lauren's reflection stared back at her, wide-eyed and pale. But just over her shoulder, the reflection twisted. Ethan's face, sunken and lifeless, grinned through the glass. Lauren. She stumbled backward, but the doors didn't close. Something beckoned her. The number 3 flickered on the panel. The third floor. Room 306. It was a sick game. The hotel wasn't done with her. Tears fell freely as she stepped inside. The elevator groaned as it ascended. Every passing second was heavier than the last. When the doors opened, the hallway was different. The carpet was torn, stained with dark streaks. The walls pulsed as if they were breathing. And at the end of the corridor stood the door. Room 306. But this time, it was wide open. Paragraph 4, unbelievable revelation. The room was unrecognizable. The bed frame was splintered. The cracked mirror lay shattered across the floor. But the walls were covered in photographs, hundreds of them. Pictures of Lauren and Ethan. Their first date, the day he proposed. The last photo they ever took before the accident. But the most disturbing part, some photos were from moments that never happened. Lauren, standing in the darkened hotel room, holding Ethan's hand. Ethan grinning beside her, but his eyes were hollow, lifeless. And then she saw it. A large, rotting suitcase in the corner, the same one she found before. But this time it was open. Inside were Ethan's clothes stained with dried blood, and beneath them a small cracked photo frame. It was a picture of Ethan standing in front of room 306, but the date at the bottom sent chills through her bones. Taken, March 19, 2025. Tomorrow. Her scream filled the room, but the shadows swallowed it whole. Paragraph 5, the next mystery. Lauren staggered out of the room, her heart pounding. The corridor twisted, the walls closing in. The elevator was gone. There was no way out. But as she rounded the corner, she saw something new. A door. Old and rusted, with no number. It was slightly ajar, revealing nothing but darkness inside. A single whisper echoed from within. You opened the door, Lauren. Now he can return. Before she could move, a pale hand gripped the edge of the doorframe. Fingernails cracked and filthy. A voice, low and twisted, rasped from the shadows. Tomorrow. The door slammed shut, and on the wall beside it, in smeared, dripping letters, was a name. Ethan Crawford. But beneath it, a second name began to form. The blood-like letters dragged themselves across the wall, spelling out a new victim. Lauren Crawford. The hotel had made its choice.